What's up, fellow crime fighters? It's Cody Lee here, aka Tihyo, and today I'm doing a very needed, I guess I could say, and requested also video. Today, as you can see by the screen I am looking at, we are doing the Techne modeling tutorial. The reason being is a lot of you guys have been wanting to model for the Godzilla mod, which I just thank you guys so much for all your support. But there is a formal way to do it, and I don't want to have to spend an extra 3 hours fixing rotations that somebody didn't set correctly, so I'm going to teach you guys how to model and stuff the right way the first time so you guys can get it done, just whoop through the models, and there's no confusion and such. So for those of you that have been requesting that I make a video on how to do rotations, offsets, texture offsets, all that stuff, this video is going to answer all those questions. So, what we're going to do here is we're in the Techne platform, and right now I'm at a blank document, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, New, and New Project. You do this whenever you want to make a new project. Now, most of you are going to start with Model Base, because what that's going to do is it's going to create a platform like this, and you can start modeling from scratch and start modeling the model. But for the purpose of this demonstration of this video, I'm going to click this arrow and I'm going to go to the wolf, because the wolf has a lot of aspects to it that I'm going to be going over. So we're just going to name this, you always name it model and then something else. Since we're doing a wolf, we name it wolf. If you were modeling somebody like, I don't know, Destroya, you do model Destroya, like that. But, yeah, so we're just doing the wolf, so you just hit model, whatever the model is. And, yeah, you hit create. So as you can see, we have an untextured wolf in our workspace here. So there's a few things we need to go over. First off, up here, this is your controls for the cubes. As you can see, when I select a cube, it gives you the dimensions, the position, the offset, and the texture offset, as well as rotations. And some other stuff that you guys don't need to worry about. Gives you the GI scale that you don't need to worry about either. This is the make a new cube button. So say you have a model and you want to add something to this, you'd hit new cube button, and there you go. That's what you do. And we just delete that real fast. There's load texture for when you want, if you're doing a texture, which a lot of you I know aren't. But if you want to do the texture for the model as well, which would make everything easier, give it a shot, and that's what that's for, but that's not what this tutorial is for. Over here we have the texture offset panel grid thing, which you guys really do need to focus on. What this does is, as you can see, when I select a part, it highlights a certain area. What this essentially is this is essentially like you have your Minecraft skin template. This is the template for your model. Now, there's a few rules that go with this texture offset. For one, there should be nothing that's overlapping unless the texture for a body part needs to be the same. As you can see here, something's overlapping just ever so slightly, which is, yeah, it's the ears and the body, but the way they did it, they made it work because it's all fur and stuff like that, so they made it work. But for the most part, try to keep things separate unless, you know, it's going to be the exact same texture. Or I recommend making this giant, big grid or something off to the side where you have free space of a texture and then just putting stuff off. But if you're not doing the texture, however, don't do any of that. Just make sure all the blocks are separate. And don't make it just wildly spread out. You know, try to make it organized in a sense, I mean, because it makes it just a lot more difficult for us to figure out what the heck you're doing. Now, here's another very important section. I'll just leave this open. Another very important section is the model tree. Now, the model tree consists of all the blocks and their names. As you can see, here's the dog's mane, here's his body, his leg 4, leg 3, leg 2, leg 1, tail, ear 1, ear 2, and nose. Now, there's a very important rule when modeling in Techne, because that's what we currently use to make models in the Godzilla mod. No block can be named the same thing. What I mean by this is you cannot have two different blocks both named ear. Like, see how, say I made this wolf from scratch and I have these two different blocks. Well, they cannot both be named ears. One has to be ear 1, one has to be ear 2. Reason being is in code, when I'm coding in the blocks, if they're named the same thing, it's not going to know what to do, and it's going to get confused and error, and then I basically can't use the model. So if you guys would be ever so kind as to name all your blocks something separate. If you're already working on a model and you've not followed some of these rules, please go back and fix them. I know it's kind of a burden, but it makes it easier on the rest of the team, the textures and everything, and your model is more likely to be used. So yeah, that's out of the way. Now we're going to get to the meat of modeling. So say I want this dog to have some kind of extra horn, or we'll just put make it like a unicorn dog thing, I guess. So what we do is we create our new cube. Now there is few aspects of the cube you guys will notice. There is this big blue ball, and there is this little cube thing right here. What this big blue ball is it's essentially a joint, or where the ball will rotate. How would you theoretically make this? Is wherever the ball is where it's going to rotate, so you wouldn't want to put the ball somewhere way off and then have the cube somewhere else because it's going to rotate way off in distance. So we're getting into the rotation portion, which is the most crucial portion that most people don't get correct. So pay attention. Now, how you would we're going to first start off before we get into the blue ball. How to make your block bigger. Well, that's what this dimension panel is for. As you can see, you can make the dimensions bigger. You can make them smaller. You could do that for the width, the height, and the depth, or length, or whatever you want to call it. Depends on how you're looking at it. And now we have, this is a very important / confusing thing. Position and offset. A lot of people don't know what the difference is. Well, position moves everything, as well as the blue ball. Offset, however, moves just the cube, which is how you're going to set your rotations. For instance, we want this block to be correct on the head. Otherwise, when the head will move, the horn on this wolf's head won't move correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get ourselves the position correctly in here, like such. So just find wherever the blue ball is, and we're just going to move this over. Alright, there we go. That's a good position for the head to rotate. Now you may be like, what, Tihyo? Oh crap, I lost it. There it is. You may be like, oh, what, Tihyo? The blue box is underneath. How do I make it actually work? Well, that's what the offset comes in. Offset, you can move the box in any order that you desire, and that will create a what's the word for it? That will create the box in the correct position. Now you can even set this, as you can see, it's not centered. We could even set decimal points. You can set just about anything. See, now it's centered. Now we got to go down one, and here we get into the actual rotations. Here you can rotate it this way. This can rotate it this way. This can rotate it this way. And those are the three main ways you can rotate it. Now, it's not suggested you do that a lot because in code, a lot of the time it starts glitching out and it will not be correct. So it's not recommended you do that, but if you have to, just because you need to, it's no problem. I'll try to figure it out. So as you can see, we're going to make this horn on his head better position, and that's a better position. There we go. So we have our unicorn dog here, and it will rotate with the head. Actually, it won't rotate with the head. If it was its own separate block, it'd rotate. My bad. All right. So as you can see, we have the head. So that's essentially if you were having this whole new branch thing that came off from the head. But say you want this horn to go and move the same position as the head. Well, what you're going to do is look at the position of the head and then rename. What was the positions? Reset the position to the exact same position that the head is using. Reason being, it'll rotate on the same axis, and it'll work better. And then you could just go and fix your offset. And now, this horn will rotate in unison with the head. As you can see, the ears do the same thing. Look at the position of the head, position of the ears, position of the snout is different slightly by a few points, but it's not really that. Try to make it on target. Now, we get over to here. As you can see, our new horn is named Shape 1. Well, that's no good. So, what you want to do is we're going to rename this to Horn 1. Essentially, it's just saying if we add more than one horn, and we can just move this wherever we want. Just try to keeping it in a good line makes it easier to read. And yeah, now it's named Horn 1. So basically, that's a lot of the stuff you guys really need to know. That's basically how you guys set rotations. That's how you would, that's basically how you set rotations, how you'd set the offset. As you can see, one thing we didn't do is this is overlapping. So how you change the offset of this? Well, you go to texture offset and you move it along. And see, now it's not covering anything, so now we could make the textures can make a separate texture for the horn. Now, say you're making this big monster, and you're like, what? I ran out of room. Well, what you could do is you could go to Edit Project, and you can change the dimensions. Now, note this is really glitchy. For some reason, you have to, it's really glitchy. See, it's sometimes it'll revert back to something else. So what I recommend is make this definitely at least one higher. See, that worked. You gotta make it, you gotta make the texture width. You can't make a perfect square. See, this will work. See, you gotta make the texture width, you gotta make it bigger than the height because it doesn't render in a square. So, anyways. That's a lot. Basically, all I have to say, as you can see, this has its own because the tail rotates on its own. As you can see, with the legs, it's basically imagine a skeleton. How would the skeletal structure of the creature you're making be? See, the legs rotation point is set where the legs would actually rotate. And as you can see, they all are in different positions, but they would all rotate, and it would look good. Stuff like the body, you really don't have to do rotations because unless the body's you plan on making it enabled to rotate. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say. If you guys want to see how to import your texture, just let me know. There's probably tutorials on that, but this is basically just how we do stuff here when it comes to modeling, so everything is clean. And like I mentioned, if you've already done a model, here's your answer. If you know you did it wrong, please try to fix it because I'm really anxious to get your models in, but it's kind of can't use them if it's not correctly set. So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and comment on this video. If you have any suggestions, leave it down in the comment section down below. If you have any questions, leave it down below as well. I will try to answer as many as I can. And yeah, remember, don't go and copy somebody else's model. That's a basic rule. Make your own. What else was I going to say? The train basically just left the station, and I don't remember what I was saying. Crap, I really don't remember what I was going to say. But anyways, yeah, if you guys need any help with anything, let me know. There are also other tutorials out there, but that you could use as reference as well if this wasn't too clear. If this wasn't too clear, just ask me questions and I'll try to answer them. Most likely, if you have questions related to modeling, try to hit me up on this video because it's related to it, and I probably would get it a lot easier. But yeah, this was basically our unicorn dog that we used as our test subject. And oh yeah, how you would send this to me is you would make a Mediafire download. Mediafire, it's free to make a Mediafire account. You know, no charge at all. Make a Mediafire account. What you do is you'd save this, save it, go zip it up, and put it on Mediafire, Dropbox, whatever you use, and send it to me, and I can get it that way. If you can't do that, let me know. PM me, or probably PM me and say, hey, is there another way I could do this? Because I can't do it. But try to do that. It's the most efficient and the most effective way and quickest way to get models into me, guys. So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and comment. I already said all that. All right, remember everybody, happy modeling and Tihyo shoes.
I'm following you.